Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Somerville Licensing Commission for March 21st, 2022. Start time is 6:02 p.m. I'm Commissioner and Chair Joe Lynch. Joining me tonight are Commissioner Jack Thomas and Commissioner Chris Allen. Pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Licensing Commission will be conducted via remote participation. We will post an audio recording, audio-video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of these proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting on the City of Somerville website and local cable access government channels. Welcome, everybody. We also have our city clerks with us. I believe Captain Sullivan from the fire department has joined us, and Lieutenant Matsakis, our liaison to the Somerville Police Department. We have members of the public who are attending, our applicants, and later on we will be having some city staff join us as well. In particular, Commissioners Charlotte Lease from OSPCD will be here to assist us with the Botanica application. Okay, so if we are ready. Item number 1 on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular licensing commission meeting from 2/14/22. Commissioners, any questions, edits, comments? Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Item number 2, minutes of the special licensing commission meeting from 2/23/22. Gentlemen, did you have a chance to review those? Okay. Before we vote, I have a couple of things I would like to call to the clerk's attention. And Lori, I can memorialize these in an email to you, but before we vote, I just want to bring these to your attention. Okay? And this is for the special minutes. Item number 1, you're referring to Commissioner Allen in the 3rd paragraph, and I believe it was Commissioner Thomas who was making those comments. And Commissioner Allen, if you just want to look at that. So it's item 1.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, I believe it's in the 3rd paragraph where the scrivener has referred to Commissioner Allen.
Pulling this up again, just a moment, please. 1, 2, 3. That is correct. That was not me.
Okay. All right, Lori, again, I'll send this to you in an email, all right, but we want to make sure we vote on these properly tonight. Further in the 4th paragraph, 2nd sentence to the end, we refer to Commissioner Jacques. It's Commissioner Thomas. Okay, and then that's repeated again throughout where it's Commissioner Thomas, not Commissioner Jacques. Okay.
I'll take care of it, sir.
Thank you. With those verbal corrections, do I have a motion for approval?
Yes, I'll move to approve.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Item number 3 is a communication from me requesting the city clerk to provide to this commission a list of all inactive, not in use alcoholic beverage licenses, private and city issued, and notify each licensee to appear at the April Somerville Licensing Commission to show cause why the commission should not revoke said licenses. Commissioners, I do believe the city clerk sent us the list. And if you've had time to review those, we're not going to be naming names, but Lori has reviewed the dates of closure or the dates of inactivity for these licensees. We've run it by the city solicitor. He has provided language to us And I believe Lori is ready to send those notifications out tomorrow. So those licensees will have to appear in front of us to show cause why we should not revoke them.
Will applicants who were approved for a license but have not had that license issued to them also be part of that notification?
I'm going to ask Lori for help. I believe there was one on that list that was approved, but the license has not yet been activated.
Mr. Chairman, this is Laurie, the secretary. There were several on the bottom of that spreadsheet.
That were approved but not yet activated.
That's correct. Or the license has been transferred and hasn't been picked up yet, or something
Yep.
like, yeah, like the one in Teal Square. I won't mention any names, but that one's been held for a while now.
Thank you. I got it. Okay, so the answer to your question, Commissioner Allen, is yes. They will have to come in and show cause as to why they're sitting on an approved license and not activating it. Okay, so noted. I'll work with Lori and the city clerk's office. We'll get those out tomorrow, so they will be asked to appear in front of us at our April meeting. Item number 4 is a communication from me requesting to delay the opening date of the 2022 outdoor dining program to April 15th from April 1st. That would be for this year only. Gentlemen, I am concerned from several standpoints that working with internal departments, this may not go as smooth as we are projecting. I did have a meeting today with at least two departments who are in direct management of how our program will roll out. One being the city clerk's office, and the other is ISD in terms of their capabilities and their inspection. I also got a phone call last Friday from Director of Engineering, Brian Postlewaite, who assured me that once we have in our hands the advisory for temporary outdoor seating from the ABCC and the governor, who is expected to sign that either today or tomorrow, that there are certain aspects of engineering, the way that we heard them present to us, there are certain parts of that engineering will be much more flexible. So let me try to explain to you what was being said to me by engineering. What we've tried to do is to set our permanent rules. What's happened now is the legislature, and we talked about this last month, the legislature went in and extended the time for temporary rules and regs for outdoor seating. The governor was expected to sign it last week, and he has not. So what that does is, if we launch our program on April 1st with our permanent rules, that puts all of our licensees at a disadvantage when it comes to other municipalities, because they'll be operating on the temporary rules from the last 2 years. So I've asked Director Postlewaite for some flexibility in certain things that he was doing. Unfortunately, Director Galligani was not at the meeting this morning, but Kim Wells from the city clerk's office helped me understand the reimbursement program that's going to be administered from the city side. That is not a case of where the city is paying for anything upfront to third-party vendors. Our licensees will have to file an application in order to be reimbursed for those expenses. So that was something I needed clarification on. ISD gave me the clarification I needed. I'm okay with engineering in the explanation that was given to me. So our program, as it's designed, will have more stringent requirements when it comes to ADA. And as I've said at the last 2 meetings, I am not about to start giving variances or any kind of leniency on ADA requirements. But what it does do, once we fall under the temporary rules, it gets rid of some of the other requirements that our engineering folks were looking for. So I wanted to bring it to your attention because I was not happy last week with the way that I saw this was rolling out. I'm pleased to report to both of you that the city clerk's office has their part of it under control. So there is an application that was successfully launched last week on Thursday. Engineering has said that they are ready for the approval process to start receiving them. ISD is ready. Economic development, I had some communication late this afternoon with Director Galligani. Can you see if he's here, Commissioner Allen?
He is. I will promote him.
Okay, so I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. I don't know if Director Galligani knows that the governor is going to issue that, or the ABCC will issue the advisory, and we should have it in our hands. Tom, do you have anything you want to add to our conversation about April 1st or April 15th?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any additional information to provide. I think you pretty much covered it.
So city clerk is ready, ISD is ready. Brian Postaway understands that under the temporary rules, we may have to relax some of the things we were looking for. From an economic development, is your team ready to start receiving applications, reviewing, and then getting this ball rolling by April 1st?
In terms of the grant programs, absolutely.
Okay. And it is my understanding that's a reimbursement program. That's not a case of where you're paying direct to a vendor.
We have two programs. One, we've hired our own licensed professionals who we can donate their services to businesses to get them started. And we also have a program where we'll reimburse them for costs.
Thank you. Are they on board, Tom?
I believe they are.
Okay. Okay, I don't want to drag it out, Tom. I got nervous last week, but I needed some reassurance that this thing was going to roll out. I believe there was only one other thing, Director Galligani, that I was waiting for. No, I believe you've covered it now on the economic development side. So all previous applicants will be allowed some flexibility, but adhering to the accessibility requirements, we're not going to be waiving those. Is that your understanding of how, when we roll this thing out, people start asking your staff, why do we have to do it this year?
That is true. We cannot waive handicap accessibility rules.
Okay, gentlemen, this was a thank you, Tom. Gentlemen, this was a communication from me. I don't believe it requires a vote because it's not an agenda item. So if you would like me to just table this, I'm not going to ask for a vote tonight to delay the opening. Do you have any thoughts you want to add before we move on?
Yes, Mr. Chair, was
No,
there a copy of this process made available?
I'm
The
sorry.
application process. Was there a copy of the application process made available?
To who, Commissioner Thomas? Made available
In
to
general, to the commissioners in general.
No, it gets uploaded. It's a third-party vendor that the city clerk works with, and they upload right on to Citizen Serve.
So we would have to go on to Citizen Serve and go through the process.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
understood.
And city clerk, assistant city clerk Bernabe Rodriguez is with us tonight, and he met with me this morning, and as well as Kim Wells and Lori, and they've assured me that their system is up and running as of last Thursday.
Yeah, I'll just confirm, Chairman Lynch. This is Bernard Rodriguez, Assistant City Clerk. We did launch it on Thursday. We sent out a mass email to a lot of restaurateurs in the area, around close to 300 restaurateurs that we had on file, and we sent them a list of instructions. And I could forward that to the commission as well if you'd like.
Bernie, it might just be, if you want to scan what the application looks like.
Yeah, that's fine. It might be yeah, I'll figure out how to get a large screenshot of it because there's a lot of questions and it's obviously a web page, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay, thank you very much. You okay with that, Commissioner Thomas, if you want to see it?
Right. I just would like to go through the process
Okay.
from start. And
Okay.
I could do that all through Citizen Serve, so that's fine.
Sure. All right. Commissioner Allen, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to confirm that one of the things that we're looking for in the relief coming from the state is basically lifting that requirement of contiguous. So we're essentially going to take some of the relaxed regulations, but for some of them choose to move forward to the permanent structure, namely with the ADA requirements.
That is correct.
Yep.
That's why we were trying to launch this in a parallel way so that accessibility requirements were going to stand this year, but the contiguous issue, we've been given relief on that by the state. The additional bathroom requirements, we've been given relief by the state because that was part of the temporary rules. The requirement notices for expansion of premises, where we used to have to advertise that we've been given relief on. We do not have to do that this year. Notification to the ABCC of the expansion of the temporary premises, we do not have to do that this year. So those are all the intricacies of outdoor dining that I was looking for the state legislature and the governor to let the municipalities operate under the temporary rules this year.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. So why don't we
one more
place-
point, Mr.
Sure.
One more point. I haven't heard too much verbiage on the distribution of the funds, making sure that that's equitable, depending on restaurant size, number of chairs. I'd like to just hear a little bit more of how that's going to be distributed along the many restaurants that we have in the city.
Sure. Let's see if Director Galagani is still with us. If he could give us a high-level overview of how he's going to be opening up the purse strings and setting out money.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's straightforward. We try to make this as simple as possible. If you're applying for outdoor dining, you're eligible for assistance, and we can provide up to a $10,000 reimbursement towards your costs associated with going outdoors. So that might include hiring your an engineer to draw up plans. It might include building a platform to meet handicap accessibility requirements. It might include buying tables and chairs.
Is this a reoccurring or a yearly?
Just this year
Grant?
only.
A one time? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Galagani. Yeah, Commissioner Thomas, the source of the funds are the ARPA money, the federal ARPA money that's coming in to assist certain segments of the industry and population with recovery. Yep. Okay. Commissioners, thank you. Director Galagani, thank you. We'll table this. No vote taken. Okay. We're sticking with April 1st. All right. Thank you very much. Item number 5, these are special alcohol licenses. Warehouse 11, Samantha Mallow, 34 Sunset Ave, North Providence, Rhode Island, requesting approval of a special alcohol license for dispensing and selling for Alicia Durfee's bridal shower to be held indoors at 11 Sanborn Court on Sunday, April 3rd, 2022 from 11 to 4. Is the applicant present?
If you're present on this agenda item, could you please raise your hand using the hand raise icon in the GoToWebinar control panel? don't see anyone by the name on the application, and we have no hands raised.
Okay, let's put that to the end of the agenda. Commissioner Allen, if you could just remind me to recall it. Thank you. Item number 6, Indigent Brewing, LLC, DBA Winter Hill Brewing, 328 Broadway, requesting approval of a special alcohol license dispensing, selling for Winter Hill Brewing Tap Room, outdoor seating to be held outdoors at 328 Broadway in the private parking lot on the following Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I'm not going to read all the dates, but they are asking for 12 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. Commissioner Allen, is the applicant present?
Yes, Breck Bailey, you are unmuted.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Thank you, Brett. Yep.
Okay. And I guess I will admit to be a little bit confused, as it relates to some of these policies. I guess, Mr. Lynch, based on your communication regarding not delaying the timing to April 15th, but understanding that you would still like portions of the the current application for outdoors to be completed. Do you have a sense for processing times for those applications, for particularly those on private property? Are you envisioning that full site plans and architectural design plans will be required for this year, or not?
Typically, we ask you what you're planning to do before we respond. So are you planning?
There's no structural work at all that's going to be done. It would be kind of a setup very similar to what we operated, kind of the last 2 years. And what we've done is we've booked several kind of events for that area, which we would like to be able to, stay true to our word on.
Okay. So Lori advised me as to what you were trying to do here so that you could have a launch very quickly. The word similar jumps out at me, Breck, so let me ask you a couple of questions. Over the last couple of years, you've utilized the private parking lot that is adjacent to your establishment. Is it your intent to replicate what you've done for the last 2 years, or are you changing that in any way?
It would be replicated, contained to 4 of our 6 private parking spots that we lease.
Got it. So here's where the flexibility part of it comes in. When you heard me when I was talking about the director of engineering. So if you have plans that were submitted last year and you plan on following those plans, those will be accepted by engineering. And then you're not limiting yourself to only Thursday, Friday, and Saturday by applying for the outdoor seating this year, instead of going this route. I think I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to get this up and operational as soon as you can without waiting for an approval process. Is that kind of the strategy here?
That's correct.
Yep. Okay. All right. So
with the exception, the March 31st date, we would like, if possible. That's just before the April 1st kickoff, I guess.
What day of the week is March 31st?
I believe it's a Thursday.
Okay.
Not critical.
Okay. Here's what I would advise you to do right now. Okay. I would advise you to verbally tell us that you're going to amend this request and only go for the 31st. Go for March 31st. The rest of this, you can apply through CitizenServe for your temporary extension of your temporary outdoor license from last year. And then it doesn't limit you to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And if your concern is how fast will this take, I did make a commitment to the administration, commissioners, sorry about this, that if we start getting a tranche of these requests coming in, we will have special meetings to try to pump these through the system as fast as we can. So you wouldn't have to wait another month for approval.
Okay. I guess
Does it-
one quick clarifying question, if you don't mind. I know there's a distinction between public and private temporary uses. I think the document that I've seen more recently has been more for public parklets and that stuff, and that the alteration process for private property was a different application. Are you suggesting that for this purposes I would use the form that's more for the public properties? It seems like it's a slightly more streamlined process potentially.
I would say it's on private property, use the private property application.
Okay.
Because that could mix people up on the approval side when they walk into a private parking lot and say, this isn't public property. So use the private. Lori will assist you with this and try to get it through quickly. I can't guarantee you, Brick, how fast this is going to go through, but there are more meetings to come. My goal is to try to get these applications approved quickly.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess in light of that, I would amend my request to only be for the March 31st date on the one-day permit.
Same time, 12 p.m. to 9:45.
Correct.
Okay. Lori, if we could make that change at the request of the applicant,
Yes, sir.
that the only thing we're approving tonight is for Thursday, March 31st, 2022, from 12 p.m. to 9:45 p.m.
Consider it done.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Any other questions? Okay. Commissioner Thomas, any questions of the applicant?
I do have a brief question as a point of clarification. If the applicant did not provide the amendment, would there be a separate fee for each one of these dates that is listed on the application?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas. There is a separate, that is something that, you know, the one-day applicants should be well aware of, is that there is a separate fee for each day they are asking us to approve. So I think
Thank
Brick
you.
is going to be very happy that he's only going to
Right,
from one day.
right.
Checkbook away.
Excuse me. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval as amended?
Move to approve as amended.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rick, thank you very much. Lori would be happy to work with you on the new application that's out there now, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for taking my questions.
Thank you very much. Item number 7 is Warehouse 11, Margaret Morrissey, 11 Sanborn Court, requesting approval of a special alcohol license dispensing, selling for Berkeley School of Music concerts to be held indoors at 11 Sanborn Court on the following dates. I won't read the dates. From 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Is the applicant present?
If you are present on this agenda item, please raise your hand now. No attendees by that name, and no one has raised their hand for this agenda item.
Thank you very much. Let's put that at the end of the agenda. Item number 8 is Warehouse 11, Second Chances, Inc. Andrea Shapiro, 11 Sanborn Court, requesting approval of a special alcohol license for the purpose of dispensing, selling beverages, spring gathering to be held indoors at 11 Sanborn Court on Wednesday, May 18th, 2022, from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Andrea Shapiro, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome, Andrea. If you could just state your name for the record, please.
Yeah, this is Andrea Shapiro. I'm the founder and CEO of Second Chances Clothing Donation Program and a resident of Somerville.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Allen, you want to take this one?
Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit about the event, and is this going to be a ticketed event, and how are you getting attendees for it?
Yep. So this is just this was supposed to be our 15th anniversary celebration, which was 2 years ago, and it didn't happen. And we've held the date, or we've kept pushing forward the date with Warehouse 11 until now. And so we're excited to be able to celebrate our 17th anniversary. And it's going to be a very casual, because we need to keep it flexible, ticketed event. It'll be primarily folks that we have relationships with, our donors and our colleagues and our community, just getting together to celebrate spring and being able to reconnect and to celebrate the work that we've been able to do over the past few years. During COVID, the need for our services, we provide free clothing to homeless and low-income folks in Somerville and Cambridge primarily. And during the pandemic, the need for our services has been huge, and we've really thrived during this time as an organization. We've grown, we've served more people, and we're really excited about that. You know, the unfortunate side of that is that there has been more need for our services in the community. And so this gathering is partly to congratulate and embrace our community, but it's also to raise funds so that we can continue to meet the need for our services in the community.
Understood. Thank you. For your alcoholic beverages that you're serving, will you be having a tip certified bartender?
Yes.
Wonderful. And will you be buying the liquor for your event from a licensed distributor?
Yes.
Perfect. Those were my questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Commissioner Thomas, any questions of the applicant?
No questions of the applicant.
Thank you very much. Andrea, you waited 2 years. I hope you have a successful event. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
I will second that.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Andrea, good luck. Thank you very much. Have a great event.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Item number 9. Item number 9. This is an existing alcohol license, all forms 7-day restaurant license. They're requesting a change of the stock interest, change of officers, directors, and a change of manager. This is for Papagayo Somerville. Papagayo requesting approval for the transfer of stock from Bradford Dalbeck to Christopher Damian. Change of officers from same, change of manager same. Is the applicant present?
Brad Dahlbeck, you're unmuted. Please go ahead and state your name for the record.
Yeah, this is Brad Dalbeck.
Welcome, Brad. This looks like simple change of to Christopher. Could you tell us a little bit about Christopher and time with Papagayo? Or go ahead, sorry.
Absolutely, yeah. Chris and I have been together as equal partners since 2002 with all of our restaurants. I'm basically stepping down. I'm 65 years old, and it's time for me to step back a little bit. So I've turned over all the financial end of the business to Chris. So we're asking that he takes on 100% of the ownership, as well as I have been the named manager of record, and we want to put Christopher as a manager of record.
Very good. Commissioner Allen, any questions of the applicant?
During the time you both have co-owned this, have you had any actions taken against you by either the Licensing Commission or the ABCC?
We have not.
Great. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Thomas.
I do not have any questions.
All right, so Brad, we've known each other for a while. I think you're a little too young for retirement, my friend.
Well, we're calling it semi-retirement because I'm actually still helping, but the financial responsibility is going away, which is very important, stress-wise.
I thought I retired 5 years ago, Brad, so,
Yeah, I
don't
get it.
don't be looking forward to too much time on the links.
No,
Okay, this is a public hearing. Commissioner Allen, are there any members of the public who wish to be heard on the application?
If you'd like to speak on this, please raise your hand in the GoToWebinar control panel. No hands raised.
Seeing none, Brad, is Chris on the line with you tonight?
he is not. He could not make it this evening.
Okay, all right. But once again, how long has he been with Papagayo Somerville?
Since inception, our company, Legendary Restaurant Group's been together since 2002, and we've been equal partners up to that time. So he's a KG veteran.
Okay, and just reiterating, I don't know if Commissioner Allen asked the question, is Christopher tip certified?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Great. All right, seeing no further comments, questions from the commissioners. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Brad, congratulations. Don't take retirement too seriously.
Well, you'll see me applying for all those outdoor patios, so I won't be going away totally.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Item number 10. Let me see what we got here. Item number 10 is a request. This is the existing alcohol license at Arts at the Armory. They have a wine and malt 7-day restaurant. They're looking for a change of manager. This is the change of manager from Joe Bosch to Jess White. Is the applicant present?
Jess White, you're unmuted. Please go ahead and state your name for the record.
Hello, I'm Jess White.
Jess, welcome. Commissioner Allen, you want to start off?
Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit about how long you've been with the Center for Arts at the Armory?
Sure, I started in my position in August of this past year, August of 2021.
Great. Are you tip certified?
No, I am not.
Okay.
My the entire bar and restaurant staff are tip certified and ServSafe certified.
Excellent. And I was going to ask if there have been any issues with the ABCC or the Licensing Commission, but I know there have not been since August. So on that time scale, I can answer that question myself. I have no further questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Thomas.
I have no questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Jess, I would just recommend, since you will be the manager of record, becoming tip certified is not strenuous or expensive. I would just make that recommendation that you become tip certified.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the commissioners? Okay. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Good wishes, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, TBD Brewing LLC, DBA. This is the existing alcohol license for this applicant. It's a farmer's pouring license. They're looking for alteration of the premises, outdoor seating on private patio. TBD Brewing LLC, DBA Aeronaut Brewing Company, 14 Tyler Street, requesting approval of an alteration of the premises for outdoor seating on a private patio. Is the applicant present?
Ron Friedlander, you are unmuted. Please go ahead and state your name for the record.
Hello, Ron Friedlander from Aeronaut Brewing. I'm one of the co-owners and co-CEO of the brewery.
Welcome back, Ron. Commissioner Lynch here. Ron, what have we got? What are you going from to? I know we have the paperwork, but we always like to hear from the applicant.
Sure. So yeah, we've been running the tap room and brewery there since 2014, and in the last couple of years during the pandemic, we had a real immediate need for outdoor service. So we were fortunate enough to have this really nice patio, kind of courtyard space right next to our entrance, surrounded by the nearby buildings. So it's nice and isolated, and it was really useful to have during the pandemic. It's kind of a lifeline, especially during the times that indoor dining was limited or prohibited. So we really wanted to turn that into a permanent thing for our company, rather than having to go back every year and do the temporary patio process. So I understand there is something going on with the ABCC where the temporary rules might be extended for the year, but we figured we just go for the permanent patio. So that's kind of what we're looking to do. And included in that is we had a site plan that had 138 seats in that space, which is more than we did during COVID because of the social distancing. So we were able to fit more tables in there. We were also looking to get some outdoor entertainment. We would have recorded music playing over speakers out there. And we're looking to occasionally have some live music out there, which we did do last year under the COVID patio. Not every day, sort of an occasional thing when the weather's nice. Generally smaller, quieter bands, acoustic type stuff, if we can do that. And I think in the process of doing this application, it seemed like we also had to do something about our indoor seating just to make sure that whatever we're doing inside is matched on the state license at the ABCC. So I think there was some discrepancy there. So I wanted to make sure that was handled too.
Okay, let me see if I can get it straight in my head. Pre-pandemic, Ron, how many outdoor seating areas did you have, or did you have any?
We had none.
None.
Pre-pandemic.
During pandemic, you expanded out into the courtyard.
Correct.
And because of distancing requirements and your own decision making, how many seats did you have out there?
That is a good question. We changed it several times throughout the pandemic. I'm trying to see what the sort of latest version was, but I want to say it was in the range of 70 or maybe up to 90 seats outside.
So let's, for safety's sake, say you had approximately half the number that you're going for now. You had about 100. You're looking for 138, and you probably had 70 during pandemic. Okay. So my next question for you is, have you looked into the regulations on whether or not this is going to trigger additional bathroom requirements?
Yes. So we had an architect review our fixture count inside, and so with the seating plan, we submitted a fixture count based on the use, and it kind of reviewed how many people we could accommodate, or really looking at what we were applying for and making sure that it fit within the amount of fixtures that we had. So based on that, this was the number we thought we could do with the existing fixtures without having to change anything in the bathrooms.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm following it. Okay, so at the beginning of your testimony, you said that there may have been some discrepancies with what the ABCC has on record and what you are filing now, right? Is that?
Yes. So when we submitted this with the indoor seating and outdoor seating shown on the plan, it seemed that, I think we were told that the ABCC, the last thing that was filed with the ABCC for our indoor seating showed a much smaller number of seats, which, we weren't aware of to this point. We thought that the 240 indoor patrons with, I forget the exact number of seats, but it's slightly fewer seats inside. We thought that was on record, but I know we've come to the city with that on a few occasions, but I guess for whatever reason, I don't think it ever made it to the ABCC. So we wanted to correct that to reflect the seats that we have now.
Okay, understood, understood. Yeah, to my recall, over the 3 years on this commission, you've only been back in front of us a couple of times for some minor adjustments to your master license. So that probably precluded having to go back to the ABCC for anything. All right, I'll stop. Commissioner Thomas, any questions of the applicant? You're muted, Commissioner Thomas.
How about now? Better?
Very good.
All right. All right. I was saying my only concern is the acoustics that are in place for that environment. It's boxed in by cement walls, and there are several residences within 300 feet of that area. So that's my only concern, would be the noise, because I did hear you mention bands, live bands. So I think the noise ordinances in that area would have to be taken into account. It's well off. It's very nicely placed, well off in the cut, but the acoustics are very, very concerning.
Yes, we definitely want to be good neighbors. We did do some music last season, maybe once a week for a few months, and we didn't get any complaints about it from neighbors. I think we're pretty mindful of that. Our staff is pretty mindful of keeping the noise levels down. We control that. We don't really let the bands control that, but we also are mindful of what types of music we put out there. And we like to keep the music inside when we can. For those reasons also, it helps kind of even out the crowd so that some people go inside when it's nice out. So we will definitely keep that in mind. We are also willing to kind of limit what types of music go out there or how many performers at a time. But it was just something we'd like to have as an amenity.
Right. I definitely would not want to discriminate against what types of music, right? But definitely, like, if you had like soundproofing, go ham. But just be mindful that is cement, and sound does travel well off cement.
Understood.
You good, Commissioner Thomas?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
Alan, questions of the applicant?
Yes, I see on some of the seating outlines that you've like explicitly, added in areas for Carolicious service, and I understand the relationship of Carolicious and Aeronaut. You also have seating specifically labeled for tasting counter. I'm not sure I understand the relationship between Aeronaut and tasting counter in this capacity.
So I think you're referring to a drawing that was sent to us. This was an old drawing we submitted during COVID, but it's not the one we're currently applying for. So I think during that time, we wanted to ensure their customers had some seating space outside. But at this time, we would control the patio entirely, and
Understood.
they wouldn't have any designated seating.
Perfect. That was my question, just in terms of, at that point you have liability questions and all that. No, as long as it's explicitly you, I'm happy with it. I have no further questions at that point.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. So Ron, Commissioner Thomas brings up something that we have talked about with other licensees who have outdoor entertainment by performers, especially anything that is amplified. I would just ask you to be very, very mindful of the noise ordinances in the city. And I'll ask you to do me one more favor before we take a look at the application and vote. If you could just inform Ward 2 Councilor JT Scott that you are doing this, and see if he has anything he wants to add by way of notifying the neighbors. As you say, during COVID, you were given temporary approval to have this in the outdoor arena. it may be beneficial to you just to notify the folks on Tyler Street that you're going to be doing this.
That makes sense. Yeah, we did send just a quick email to JT Scott, just letting him know that we were applying for the alteration. But I can definitely ask more specifically about the music and to perhaps set up a meeting or at least notify the people on our street and surrounding area.
No, you've been a good neighbor. You know, hopefully that will continue. So commissioners, any other questions of the applicant before we open it for public comment? Okay, Commissioner Allen, are there members of the public who wish to be heard on the application?
If you'd like to speak on this application, please raise your hand now in the GoToWebinar control panel.
Seeing none. Ron, anything else that we need to know?
I don't think so. I think that covers everything.
Okay. I know that Lori had some concerns about the discrepancy on the indoor count versus the outdoor count and what you were going for. So if you could work with the city clerk's office, we'll help you straighten that out. Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Laurie, the secretary. May I interject for just a moment?
Sure thing.
On the agenda, it just states alteration of premises, outdoor seating on a private patio. The advertisement just says alteration of premises. So I don't think it would be erroneous for us to approve both the inside and the outside seating, and the entertainment for outdoors was advertised, but that is purely up to you.
Okay, so Ron, what you're doing is an alteration of the premises for outdoor seating on private patio with entertainment by devices and performers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And we also have to change the indoor to keep the record up to date at ABCC. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, commissioners, what's your pleasure? It's not exactly clear on the agenda, but now I understand what he's doing. He has to amend his master license with the ABCC because it appears to be out of date.
And is your concern that we can't approve a purely paperwork change of inside seating if that has not been posted on the agenda?
Let me bounce it right back to Lori. Lori, was the alteration of the interior premises advertised?
March 16th, 2017.
I'm sorry, sir. The advertisement simply stated that it was an alteration of premises. It wasn't really specific.
It did
and
not.
On the agenda, I wasn't specific.
Lori, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. So it didn't specifically state indoors or outdoors on the advertisement.
That's correct, sir.
That's my answer, Commissioner Allen. We can amend that on the agenda. Okay? So
I'm happy to move forward then.
Let's take it step by step. Commissioner Lynch is requesting that we amend this on the agenda to read TBD Brewing LLC DBA Aeronaut Brewing, 14 Tyler Street, requesting approval of an alteration of premises indoors and outdoors for the seating on the private patio to include entertainment by performers and devices. What are the hours of operation, Ron Friedlander?
So just for the patio or overall?
The patio.
So for the patio, we're going to operate 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. One question I had is there a limit on hours outside that we need to stick to? because we were also possibly interested in doing 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday.
Commissioner Allen, we've had this discussion before, and it has to do with the master license. What are your hours of operation with your master license, Ron?
I believe we're open until 12:30 a.m. with our master license.
Okay, and what you're looking for is closing time on the outdoor patio prior to what your master license is.
Right.
But you want to continue the performance outside until whatever the times were that you named, which are different. Okay. Commissioner Allen, you're ready. Go ahead.
The rules and regulations are that they may not extend beyond midnight, inclusive of time to set up, break down, and clean the area, and they must not exceed the hours of the master license.
Got it. It looks like 11:30 may be your cutoff, Ron.
Okay. 11:30 would be great if we could do that.
Okay. All right. So if you could state for Lori, you got your handy dandy pencil ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for the outdoor patio, Ron, if you could state the hours of operation again.
So it would be Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to sorry, let me change that. Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Saturday, 12 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Lori, have you got that?
I believe so, sir. Would you like me to repeat it back?
Please.
Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Saturday, 12 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you very much. Ron, you good with that? Commissioners, are you good with that? Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Any members of the public? Did they come back in? No? No members of the public. Okay. Ron, if you're good, I think we've got everything we need. We'll have to update the ABCC as well with all of your amendments here. Okay? Do I have a motion to approve as amended?
Quick
I'll
question,
move to
Mr. Chair. Oh,
Sorry, Commissioner
sorry.
Tom.
Yeah. Would any of these amendments require a notification of abutters?
Thank you very much. Lori, have we got the notification receipts?
Hold on.
It's a good catch, Commissioner Thomas, but Lori doesn't issue the license unless she has those in her possession.
No, sir, I don't have them, but they cannot be sent into the ABCC without them.
Right.
Okay.
Ron, did you send certified letters?
Yeah, we sent them. I did submit the receipts and the butters list.
Okay. Could you work that out with Lori?
Yeah,
tomorrow?
happy to.
Work it out with Lori if somehow whatever you sent in, but you know how this works. We can't get the approvals out of ABCC without those abutters notices. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So commissioners, we can give conditional approval as amended pending Lori being satisfied with the abutters notices receipts. You okay with that, Commissioner Thomas?
Yes, yes. Fine.
Okay. Commissioner Allen, back to you.
I will move that we approve, given the hours of operation that we have stated, and additionally explicitly stating that this is both approval of outdoor seating on a private patio, alteration of indoor seating, outdoor entertainment by devices, and outdoor entertainment by performers.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I believe we would have to add a conditional approval.
They are conditional. All approvals that we give are conditional pending sign off.
Okay, so we don't have to state that in the motion. That's fine. Okay. If that's the
Mr.
case,
Chair, this is Laurie again. I hate to interrupt, but I do have copies of the abutters list and the certified receipt, so we are all set.
Thank you. Okay. You good, Commissioner Thomas? I'm trying desperately to get this along.
I'm good.
Okay, Commissioner Thomas seconds the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Ron, let's keep all this paperwork up to date, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay,
Will do.
thank you very much. Next on the agenda, it is 7:03. Commissioners, at your pleasure. Would you like to take a 2-minute break? We have Botanica coming in for a presentation, and this is for a new recreational marijuana license. 2-minute break, or do you want to continue?
I'm happy to continue.
Okay. All right, next up on the agenda is item number 12. This is for a new marijuana retailer license. The applicant is Botanica LLC Inc., 620 Broadway, requesting approval for a Group A priority new marijuana retailer license. The proposed hours of operation are Sunday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Is the applicant or their representative present?
Denise O'Donovan, Matthew Radebach, Sean O'Donovan are all unmuted.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good
Mr.
evening,
Commissioners.
Counselor. How are you tonight?
Doing well in yourselves. Thank you for your time.
Very good. You have your team assembled?
We do. We have, I was just going to give a couple of opening remarks, a little quick procedural history, Mr. Chairman, not to take up much time, and turn it over to Denise O'Donovan, the CEO.
By all means. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be before your board, your commission this evening. Sean O'Donovan, attorney for Botanica. My office is located at 741 Broadway in Somerville. Our office helped them fill out the paperwork initially, Mr. Chairman, which dated back to the very first opportunity back in May of 2019. Botanica filed their application right when the opportunity presented itself. As the board's aware, the city council in 2018 debated and came up with the new marijuana law. And in 2019, which was almost 2 years after my family had purchased the gas station at 620 Broadway, which is being run by my brother Michael. And Michael O'Donovan is one of the managers involved with Denise and Brenda and Matt Radebach. The Ball Square Bridge closed. Now, when we actually purchased that land back in 2017, Mr. Chairman, we were of the opinion and understanding that the Green Line Extension project was going to be in one direction. The bridge would not be closed in totality. It would be the flow of traffic would be closed for 6 months in one direction and 6 months in the other direction. As a result of it not happening that way and a new plan coming, which we're all excited about, by the way, because we're ecstatic over the Green Line, the gas station had to be closed. And Michael had to shut down the gas station. And as a result of that, had to pull the tanks out of the ground because you can't leave gasoline for more than 120 days, as I understand, in the tank. So Michael had to start remediating the place. The original plan, frankly, was to beautify the gas station, maybe move the building a little bit closer to Dan Coyle's Drain Doctor and spruce up the gas station. But unfortunately, it became a parking lot when the Green Line extension took place. That was all happening as we learned. And again, a wonderful thing for the city and the neighborhood, and ultimately, hopefully, this site. But when that was happening, and Michael was realizing he was going out of business, he was approached by Brenda DeAngelis and Denise O'Donovan about this idea because the city had passed the new adult cannabis law. So I just laid that in for a little bit of history about how this turned into what it turned into. And what happened was in May of 2019, Botanica filed their application to the city of Somerville. They did receive an interview from the Marijuana Advisory Committee that summer, and they scored. They had a decent score, Mr. Chairman. They did. One of the things that was in the minutes and in the decision by the Marijuana Advisory Committee, when they scored them at 9.5 out of 15. And at that time, there were two things about it. They wanted the site to be built out, as much density as possible. And we've already been to the ZBA, as I know you're aware, Mr. Chairman, for the building. But more importantly, with regard to the Botanica, there was concern about industry experience. And at that time, during that summer, Matt Radabaugh had come on board, but he wasn't on board in time for the actual interview that the Marijuana Advisory Committee brought Botanica in for. So that following fall, October 4th, basically 4 or 5 months later, they refiled their application. Matt Radabaugh, the COO, who's here tonight and who will be speaking shortly after Denise, has over 10 years of experience in the industry. He's been working in the industry in Massachusetts and outside of Massachusetts for many, many years. And you'll hear from Matt in just a moment. But that was something, I think, when they got brought back in front of the Marijuana Advisory Committee, and I think the date they went back was probably sometime, about 18 months later, they were brought back in to the Marijuana Advisory Committee. And during that time, Matt was on board, and the site was sitting like it was. They went in for their interview, and they did it remarkably well. They ended up with a score of 13 out of 15. And at that particular time, were recommended for an HCA. They ended up getting the HCA signed by the city and started this process to come before your commission. Last fall, they held a neighborhood meeting simply because they wanted to. And they did it because the landowners, meaning I filed an application, a DRA application for the site, and we went in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals in December for a one-story building, but we were having a neighborhood meeting, which we were required to do under that process. So Botanica wanted to join with us to meet the neighborhood because we had to notify the neighborhood. We had to fly the neighborhood about that meeting. So Botanica came on with us. And after we gave a presentation about what we wanted to do there for the building only, then Botanica gave a presentation to the neighborhood on their own. And it was a great thing they did, I think, because it quelled a lot of people's fears maybe in the area, and they had a great reception, frankly. Subsequent to that, of course, as we were coming before your board, we had a change of the city council. Mr. Needigang stepped down. Councilor Gomez took over, and we had another neighborhood meeting last month, Botanica, that is. So people in the neighborhood know that Denise lives on Rogers Avenue, and Michael moved over the line in Medford, and Brenda lives up on Browning Road, and so they got to kind of know them a little bit more, and I think it's been a pretty good experience, frankly. So I'm sorry for talking so long. I just wanted to lay some of those things out about the site and about the things that Botanica has done to this particular stage, and I'll stop talking. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Denise O'Donovan, Mr. Chairman, who's the CEO.
Counselor, thank you very much. And just by way so that the Botanica team knows, Charlotte Lease from OSPCD is with us, and Charlotte can answer any questions that the commissioners may have. So welcome, Denise. She all set, Sean?
I think she might be muted, but she's definitely all ready to.
Denise is unmuted on our end. May still be muted on hers.
And Commissioner, Counselor, do you have a presentation? Do you want us to assist you with that? Or is this going to be verbal?
Yes, well, Denise was going to tell a little bit about how her and Brenda came up with the idea and approached Michael, who was now sitting at, this is why it ended up at this location, having a defunct gas station that had turned into only a parking lot. And then we do have Mr. Radabaugh would like to ask you to share the screen with him so that he could run through the layout and the floor plan, because it's a 2,700 square foot. It's almost a 5,000. There were 3 tenants in the building, Mr. Chairman. There's a cafe that's going to have a beautiful outdoor space area, a small arts and creative spot for an artist or somebody that's a maker or something. And then, of course, Botanica itself is almost 5,000 square feet, but it has 2,700 square feet of floor space.
All right, why don't we do this? When it comes time for Matt, Commissioner Allen can make him an organizer and share the screen. But why don't we see if we can get Denise O'Donovan.
Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Licensing Commission.
Thank you so much, Chairman Lynch, Commissioners, Somerville Police, and Somerville Fire Department. My name is Denise O'Donovan. I'm a lifelong resident of Somerville. I'm a mother, registered nurse, and CEO of Botanica. Botanica is a female majority-owned adult marijuana dispensary, and it's located at 620 Broadway, the former site of the Shield gas station. My partners are Michael O'Donovan, Brenda DeAngelis, and Matt Radabaugh. My brother-in-law Michael was born and raised in Ball Square in Rogers Ave. Michael has over 30 years of retail experience and is the manager of Botanica. Brenda DeAngelis is a longtime resident of Somerville and lifelong friend. Brenda is also a mother and nurse and will be the community outreach liaison for Botanica. Matt Radabaugh is our COO, and Matt brings 10+ years of extensive marijuana industry knowledge and experience to the Botanica team. Botanica is an adult retail marijuana dispensary committed to creating a safe, clean, and community-friendly environment, providing consistent quality cannabis products to adults 21 years or older. Botanica intends to hire a diverse team from the community in which we live, and this will reflect upon the diversity that represents Somerville. A major focus of Botanica is community outreach and giving back. We look forward to partnering with local departments such as the Somerville Police, the Health and Human Services, local schools, and agencies in our community. We've established a relationship with David Gibbs, the Executive Director of CAS, Community Action Agency of Somerville, to assist in their mission of helping those in need citywide. Botanica team members canvassed the surrounding neighborhood and distributed flyers beyond the 300-foot radius required by the city of Somerville. In doing so, we were able to introduce ourselves and discuss any concerns and answer questions with many of our neighbors. We held our first neighborhood meeting on October 27th, 2021. This meeting was not required, but a voluntary effort on our part to introduce ourselves and establish our commitment to our city in this process. We also held a meet and greet on November 29th, 2021 at Avenue Kitchen and Bar with the assistance of Jeffrey Schwam from the Ball Square District Association. It was a great opportunity to gather with our colleagues and Ward 5 City Councilor Beatriz Gomez. We held our city-required neighborhood meeting on March 7th, 2022, and on March 10th, held another neighborhood meeting required by the CCC, the Cannabis Control Commission. Botanica members were in attendance at the business community gathering on March 14th, 2022, with our City Councilor Beatriz Gomez to discuss concerns and issues related to the Ball Square District. Botanica will be the ideal picture of an adult retail marijuana dispensary. We will blend with our neighborhood, both in our aesthetically pleasing design and our commitment to our community. Thank you for your time. Presenting next will be Matt Radabaugh.
I'm going to make you presenter, Matt?
Right. I just have to update my settings to allow privacy. Give me 1 second. Are you able to see my screen?
No, if you were doing this on a Mac, you may have to restart the application.
Oh, so you have to, for a Mac, you have to restart it.
Yeah, after you give it permissions to share the screen.
There you go. You're up now.
Oh, we got you.
Oh, great.
Even better.
Sometimes Matt, there's a little bit of a delay, but you've got it.
Us Mac users, it's a we're a different breed. It takes a little longer always. Thank you so much, Commissioner Lynch and the other commissioners for letting me speak. So, my voice is a little bit raspy tonight. I am fighting a stomach bug. I have 2 young ones at home. They carry a lot of germs, so I I don't have the great booming voice I usually do, but I'm very excited to be able to present to you. Denise already talked about the Botanica story, the structure, or mission and vision, and community outreach, and I'm really going to talk about operations. So our initial hours of operation, we're going to be operating Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on Sunday, we're actually going to be operating from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we will have different hours of operation on Sundays. Our facility will have an advanced odor mitigation system. That's just from my experience over the years. It's something it's a nice addition to the facility. What the advanced odor mitigation does, it has advanced filtration on return air. It has ionization in the ducting system. So any odor pollutants of the cannabis wouldn't be able to leave the facility. It's the same type of technology in cigar bars and other smoking facilities. So it has really come a long way since before cannabis 20 years ago was starting in the restaurant industry. So our odor mitigation will ensure that you are not smelling the cannabis on the sidewalks outside of the 4 walls. We are not going to sell ready-to-use vape products. So meaning we will not have the disposable vape cartridges that have the all-in-one batteries that you walk out and smoke. We will sell products individually a la carte, a battery separate from a vape cart. It will not be sold ready to walk out the door and start using. Another thing highlight is our staff will not carry firearms. Anybody that has a registration, an agent card with Botanica from the CCC will not have a firearm. The only firearms that will be carried, we will use a third-party cash pickup service, similar to what you see at grocery stores, liquor stores, banks. They are an independent third party. They do carry firearms. It's usually 1 person in the vehicle, 1 person coming in. That's just what they do. It's part of that, but they are licensed to carry firearms. They're trained, they're certified. They will be the only ones that will have firearms. We will have staff in all parts of the area. One of the areas of the facility we will have staff is outside of the dispensary. We're going to ensure that no lines are being formed on Broadway outside of our 4 walls on the street. It's to also prevent diversion, which is a big part of running a responsible business. Not allowing anybody to double park on Broadway. So if we see somebody double park, they won't be allowed entry into the facility. They will have to find a legal parking spot and then come into the facility. And also to maintain the beauty of the streets. It's to pick up any debris from anything, just people walking, debris flies all over the place, green line everywhere. It's to ensure that we're keeping our exterior of the facility in great condition. And overall, here's the overall design of our portion of the layout. Sean gave an idea of the whole facility, where there will be a cafe and there will be an art enterprise space. That will not be part of what Botanica will be doing. We'll just be doing the dispensary. And the dispensary is designed like this. We designed it with an idea for safety and security. It's many years of doing this. It's understanding a good process flow teamed up with a good security flow for limiting access, ensuring people can't get to high value products, and also that cash and products are in secure areas that are make it almost impossible for anybody to get to it without having the proper credentials. And I'll go through that further in the presentation. So the whole idea is you would come on through the sidewalk into our vestibule, where security will ensure that you're 21 and older. If once they've validated your ID, we'll use an advanced ID system that ensures that it's not a fake ID. It's the same system that you see at bars and restaurants that makes sure that it is an actual state license ID and it matches. From that point, you will be buzzed into the sales floor. We will have a shopping queue where you will go to one of our 3 stations, and I'll talk about the 3 stations. But we'll have product displays in the middle, and there will just be dummy packaging. There will be no marijuana product on the sales floor itself. All marijuana product will be behind the counter, and that it's more for merchandise, packages, boxes, just for the products we'll carry. It allows us to just show it off, but there will be no product. So here's a little closer view of what it would look like when you're walking in. And I kind of try to break it up into areas a little bit to give you a closer view, because it's hard to see it on the big view. So first, to start out, who can shop with us? Anyone that is 21 and older that has a valid state issued ID will be able to shop with us. For the first 6 months of operations, we will be appointment only, meaning you will have to make an appointment on our appointment system. And that appointment system will allow you the ability to make an appointment and also do a pre-order. So to come into Botanica, you will have a time slot. And that's how everything will work for the intake process, and allows us to really control the traffic coming in. The intake process is pretty smooth. You come in, you show your valid ID, we verify your appointment time, you're buzzed in, and you're guided to your designated counter. We'll have somebody on the sales floor that will guide you to which counter to go to, whether it be a pre-order, or if you're just coming and not knowing what you want to buy and you want to be educated on the products, you'll be directed to those certain point of sales. And you'll walk through the queue. You can see, it might be hard to see. You see a dotted line of how you'll walk through. This will be the queue to get you there, and it's more to control the flow of traffic.
Matt, one question, let me just ask the question on that queue. Is that just a rope system?
It's it'll be it's not like a rope. It's the zip pulley system, if you can imagine it.
Yes.
It's got a like a canvas pull, and it goes onto a bar. That'll divide up the sales floor and the display counters, and it'll be walking through the display counter. So you're walking through products, and then to get to your designated point of sale.
Yeah, so I got it now. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So we broke up our point of sales. We have 3 areas. We have 4 regular point of sales. So the regular point of sales are, you've made your appointment, but you don't know what you want to buy. We'll have 4 registers that are dedicated to those customers. The average transaction, just from my experience, is 12 to 15 minutes for those individuals. They like to ask questions. They want to be educated on products. So it takes a lot longer to go through that whole purchasing process. We will have 5 pre-order point of sales. The pre-order point of sales it's through our online portal, the Q portal. You know what you want to buy. Whatever those products are, you make your order. The order's filled for you the morning of, and it's ready in a designated area for when you come in behind the counter. You'll be designated to our pre-order point of sales. Your order will be pre-packaged. You'll come to your counter. It'll be verified what's in there, and you'll pay for it there. There is no payments online. Payments happen after your ID is verified. We have to verify the person picking up is actually on the order. So it's another way of preventing diversion. So if John Doe ordered online, we need to make sure the ID matches and John Doe's picking it up. And those transactions are about 4 to 6 minutes, because it's just, yep, this is what I want. I'm just going to pay. They're a lot faster. And our third type of point of sale, it's more to support some of the social equity licenses will have 2 dedicated point of sales for third-party home delivery. We personally will not do home delivery. The Cannabis Control Commission has started issuing licenses for courier home delivery for social equity applicants. And to support their business and to allow them to be able to have a quick pickup time, we designated 2 point of sales for them. Their transactions typically take 20 to 30 minutes because they're picking up multiple orders. So they would have, it's not just one order, they're going to be picking up their legal amount. I'm not 100% sure what it is that they have. It's to fill up their inventory in their vehicle. So we have to go through all the orders. So they tie up a register for a long period of time. And to support them and allow them to be successful, we wanted to give them 2 point of sales dedicated just to them, because it's important to support those social equity licenses, because that's what really makes a great business community in cannabis, in my opinion, is seeing those licenses get a chance and supporting them. And the types of payment that you'll see in the point of sale is cashless and cash. When I started in the industry a lifetime ago, it was almost all cash. Now it's a combination of CanPay and direct ACH. And you're seeing that it's really pushing 50-50 and closer, almost as on some days, 65% cashless. So you're seeing more cashless payments as more credit unions and different types of payment processors are coming online, and it's totally legal, and it is all vetted through our bank. We only use vendors that would be approved by our bank, and they have a pretty strict compliance. So security is a very big thing of what we do, and just want to kind of talk through security for a little bit. We have a combination, we have a lot of philosophy in security. It's no armed guards. We don't want to create a police state within the 4 walls. We want to create a customer service approach where it's de-escalation, it's education, it's really walking people through the experience, answering questions. It's having that concierge kind of approach. My life before cannabis was running restaurants, and it goes a long way of having that customer service approach, and you can usually find a solution for any problem. And it's really, we're not looking for bouncers here. We're not looking for muscle. We're looking for people that can talk to people and de-escalate, and that's going to be part of the training. Our security is going to be a combination of interior and exterior security. So we're going to have people within the 4 walls that are managing the flow, de-escalating. It's just people get agitated. It's just, that's the nature. If they have to wait 1 or 2 minutes past their appointment time, people get a little upset every once in a while. I'm sure we've all seen it when we're picking stuff up at restaurants or stuff like that. So we want to have the people on the inside. We'll also have people on the outside. They're the ones that I talked about at the beginning. They're preventing diversion. They're managing making sure there's no lines on the street and keeping the sidewalks clean at all times. We will have product that's going to come out, that's going to come to us, and we are going to work with all of our vendors, and it's going to be randomized delivery times. We're going to make sure that we're not able to create patterns in when products are dropped off. Because if you don't create a pattern, then it makes harder to predict when things come in. So that teamed up with our security on the outside, it allows for protection from any vandalism. We'll also be working with our cash vendor to have randomized cash pickup times that only we would know. And they would not be the same times. It would rotate on usually I try to do it every 2 weeks, the times change. It's a different schedule over a 2-week period, then every 2 weeks you have a schedule, but it's not the same time 2 days in a row. The cash pickup companies are great with this. They're used to it. They're all about risk mitigation. They don't want to get robbed. So it's working with them to make sure that cash is picked up at a random time. We designed our facility to have a separate entrance for cash pickups. It's in a secure area. They will be signed in as a visitor. They'll be escorted to the cash area. I'll show you one of our cash features. We'll use an AT safe machine. We will not have actual loose safe in the building. It'll be cassettes. The security company will have a code. They will be able to pull out the cassettes. So our employees will deposit cash in a machine, and nobody from Botanica can actually access that cash once it's deposited. It's something you see at a lot of high volume cash businesses, convenience stores, restaurants, bars, nightclubs, high-end retail. security equipment's come a long way, and our security equipment will be best in class, and I'm going to talk about that in the upcoming slides. And there are security features within the design that I'm going to discuss that will let you see how we're going to maintain safety. So within the fourth walls, we're going to have three types of interior, exterior, three types of cameras. We'll have our exterior cameras, and we're going to go with the lowest profile exterior camera. Camera technology changes, it seems like every week. So the cameras get more and more high resolution and they get lower profile. So we're going to select a camera design that's not those giant big UFOs that you see with multi-cameras. It's going to be small, low profile, high resolution that gives you the maximum coverage by the CCC to maintain the entire four walls of the property, which will be under security camera, but our cameras will be pointed in a way that it's not going into neighbors' properties. So we are going to secure our property line and not go into a neighbor's property line into their private space. The cameras that will go onto Broadway will be on Broadway, that because there are cars that will be parking in front, and that is a requirement. We want to make sure that we're able to see those. Inside the building, we'll have it's two types of camera. There will be 180-degree cameras, which are single position. They go almost like a V is their camera view. They pick a very single point of view, and that's what they're looking at. Then we have our 360 cameras, but it's not the fisheye cameras that if you've seen a security camera that you picture. These are 360 cameras with multiple cameras in there, and it has almost a de-warping ability. So it looks like a single camera, but you're able to pan 360 degrees around the room and get all points of coverage with high resolution. So our camera design will be in an overlapping design. So there will be multiple cameras that are picking up the same angle. So there would be no blind spots that are created. And it's working with experienced security vendors that know how to create that overlapping design. We will also have an intercom system at our entrances and exits that are not part of the public access. So there are emergency egress exits. There is the delivery that will have a intercom system. Somebody dropping off product would buzz in, it would go to our security camera, they would see that, and someone would let them in, sign them in, and they go through the process. We'll also have panic buttons at every point of sale, in the vault, in the receiving room, under the security desk. There'll be panic buttons strategically placed in all parts of the area, so if anything were to happen, there are multiple areas where a panic button can be hit. We will have an intrusion system for the four walls, as well as an independent intrusion system on our products. So that will always be armed, even during business operations. So if you want to open the vault door for product, you'd have to disarm the alarm. That's just a safety measure. It's always armed, and that's more to just protect about anybody walking in from stealing product. But that is always armed 24 hours a day. And we will use access control for limited access areas. Somebody will have badge access. There will be only keys for the executives and store manager. Everything will be access controlled, and keys will be managed by our security, which we'll bring in, and there'll be key access. But the idea is with access control, with one push of a button, you can turn off somebody's access, and it's about safety. So it's ensuring that nobody can come in that's not supposed to be there, and that's it really helps with controlling that limited access. On the exterior window of the building, we will have a security film. That is a requirement of the CCC. So you cannot look into the dispensary. It is a safety measure, but the security film will prevent from break-in. It's the 3M security film. It actually doesn't let the object go through. It'll splinter the glass, and the glass break will have it's a vibration sensor on it with security. But it's a pretty amazing technology that has kind of come about with these security films. It will just look like a spider web when something hits it, and it gives that extra time for reaction if there is a break-in. Our secure vestibule will have security glass. ID will be passed through. Under the counter, which you would see there would be a panic button. So if somebody were to come in, if there was the problem, they'd be able to push a panic button. On the actual sales floor, in those displays you saw as we were controlling traffic, there would be no marijuana product. It would just be empty boxes and displays, educational materials, some stuff that we want people to see as they're walking through, waiting to get to their queue. And this is an example of what I was talking about with our cash management. Cash is deposited in, a receipt is printed out. So when you're reconciling your drawer, and the security company would have the second key, you would need 2 keys to open. Our manager would have a key, the second key opens it, and there would be a unique code. The cassettes would be pulled out, they'd put the money in secure bags, manager would sign off, and cash is out the door. So and that's important for us for minimizing that cash. The only real cash that will be on the only cash that will be in the safe itself will be in the for tills. So we'll have a $150, $200 cash tills. Make sure we have there and stuff to make change, break big bills into small bills. But the bulk of our cash will be in a safe like this, and we will have multiple pickups to ensure that we're not having large amounts of cash ever within the 4 walls. The cash companies can come once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, depending on how much cash is there, and they have that flexibility. So we will have our SOP written for the amount of cash that's in there, but as the business has evolved, it is becoming less cash and more into cashless. As society is almost all cashless, but cannabis is a little more cash, but you're seeing it shift further away. Some additional features that we will have, it's the limited access areas. That's going to be done by the access control. We'll have the interior security staff that'll be working in, and it's more for customer service, de-escalation, controlling the crowd. That's and letting them know this is the register you want to go to, answering any questions. If somebody's taking a little longer to make a purchase, somebody will be right with you. It's just talking to them through and making sure that people are not getting agitated. The exterior of our vault will have cinder block, so to ensure that it's not someone's not able just to walk in there and throw something through it. So it'll be a safety feature for the vault safety. The other walls around the vault, there will be a security mesh. It's a metal web mesh that ties to the stud, so that where there is drywall, it doesn't just walk right into the actual vault itself. It is this metal security mesh that you would need to cut through to get in there. So we're adding all these extra layers of security where product is. And inside the vault itself, you will see the independent intrusion system and a stand-up panic button. Diversion is another big thing that's important to us to be responsible operators. It's preventing against diversion. To do that, we've broken it out to, we'll have cameras over each register to see the actual transaction happening. We will have robust camera coverage in all 4 walls of the facility, as well as the entire exterior covered. We're going to do twice a day full product inventories at the beginning and ending of each shift. During the day, we're going to do cycle counts on different SKUs. Throughout the day, we'll have our inventory team. We'll do product SKU counts to ensure products are not, there is no shrinking. We're going to maintain limited access areas and limiting cash on the floor. So if there is one register that's getting a lot of cash, manager will take that. They will write a slip what they're putting in. It'll be verified by the employee. It'll go into that cash machine, because we don't want to. We want to limit the amount of cash on the floor. Some of the stuff we're going to do, the big thing that what's important to us is preventing the sale to minors. So only 21 and allowed will be allowed to entry into the dispensary. The high-tech security system for scanning IDs will be there at the the security vestibule. So it will know if it's fake ID. Fake IDs, this will not be able to be fooled by this. This system will not be fooled by a fake ID. The system is able to detect it, and you need to have a valid state-issued ID, and will verify that it matches the face on there. Everyone that has to be buzzed into our sales floor. So you have to have your ID verified to be buzzed onto the sales floor. So it's making sure that no one can just walk in. We will have physical security staff on the sidewalk, ensuring people aren't coming out and giving products to minors on our 4 walls. And we'll also, as Denise spoke, there will be community education. It's working with police, schools, health and human services. It's through different educational programs to educate the community. I was part of the canvassing in the fall, and besides diversion and security, traffic was something that was brought up by a lot of the neighbors that I was walking through in Ball Square. And we understand that. And part of what we're going to do is we're going to do our part in minimizing traffic into that Ball Square area, where especially into our 4 walls. So we're going to encourage alternate means of transportation, such as biking, walking, rideshare, GLX, and MBTA bus lines. Our website, our business website, once it goes online, right now we just have a landing page, but as we get closer to operations, our website will connect to popular apps like Blue Bike, Uber, Lyft, as well as connect with local cab companies. Our website will also have links to public transit schedules. So it'll allow you to know the different public transit schedules for the trains, buses. And for our staff, we will subsidize transit passes. So to encourage them to use public transportation, we're going to subsidize those transit passes. And as you heard from Denise, we're going to have a big recruiting push from local residents and from Somerville, as well as Medford and other surrounding communities. And we've been collaborating with our Ward 5 City Councilor. If there's any questions for Councilor Beatrix, it's right there. And obviously anything for you, Commissioner Lynch. And that is my presentation. Thank you for letting me talk for a while.
Matt, it's almost as if you've done this type of presentation before.
Been doing it a while.
And you've watched some of our recorded sessions when our applicants are in front of us.
I think it's important to respect the city process and understand, how to tell the right story, and understand it's explain your operational experience. I think it goes a long way with operational experience of learning the rights and wrong ways of doing things. And I was fortunate to be able to start working with my father. He won his license in 2011 in Rhode Island. He was one of the 3 original, and I think it was the 2nd or 3rd dispensary open east of Colorado in the United States. So Greenleaf Compassionate Care Center in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and Quinnipiac Island.
Thank you, Matt. So Matt, I have one question for you, and this is a bonus question. It's not going to reflect on anything that you just presented. How many applications do you think the CCC has already approved as of today for recreational marijuana?
If I had to guess, for retail, 175 to 185 for retail.
As of this morning, there were 393 applications that have already been approved.
For final licensure for retail?
They're in the process. I would say close to 300 they've already wound their way through the CCC. So that's the competition that's out there. And I would just say, if the presentation reflects the way the operation is going to run, they're going to have stiff competition if Botanica goes through. So let me stop my commentary and ask either of the commissioners if you want to begin your questioning now, some things that may pique your interest during the presentation, or Counselor, if you would like us to hear from your general operations, Michael, or from Brenda DeAngelis. It's up to you, Counselor. Is Sean muted?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Brenda DeAngelis, who's going to be working as the outreach coordinator, had a family emergency today, and her aunt was taken to the hospital. So I think she's on the meeting with her phone, but I don't know if she's in a position to speak right now.
No, that's okay.
So
We can ask questions and other members of the team can help us with it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So commissioners, we have Charlotte with us. If there are any questions that that Charlotte could be able to help us with, let me ask some very concrete questions first, and I'll turn it over to either Commissioner Thomas or Commissioner Allen. Charlotte, are you with us?
Yes, Commissioner Lynch, this is Charlotte Lee speaking.
Thank you very much. The date of the host community agreement and who executed the agreement.
Give me one moment. You know what? I know you're always going to ask these questions, and yet I did not have my log open and ready to go. So if you give me 30 seconds, I have all of these. It was executed on May 10th, 2021.
May of 2021, and that was, I assume that was executed by the mayor at the time. And who signed for Botanica?
I believe it was Denise O'Donovan, but I can also check that if you give me another couple of seconds.
Okay.
It was signed by Denise O'Donovan.
Thank you very much. Okay. I've got the dates of the community meetings. We have a letter of no opposition from Councilor Beatrice Gomez Morcad and Lori Jean Batzik. I believe you sent to the commissioners several other letters from the public. Do you know how many?
Today.
Okay. So we have a few more. Before we get into the public comment period, commissioners, I just wanted to let you know that we do have that. So we have dates. Councilor O'Donovan was representing to us that there was the second round that Botanica went through in order to get their approval from the MAC. And just stating the date, that was in July of 2021. So they received their host community agreement in May of 21. They went back in to the MAC and they received a score of 13 of 15 from the MAC. So they have gone in front of planning, zoning. They're in front of us. They will be applying to the Cannabis Control Commission. If they haven't already started that, they will be doing it. So that's where we are. They've held several community meetings. The dates, we can ask the dates, but as far as I know, it's October, November, and then March of this year that they've had several community meetings.
Mr. Chair, this is Charlotte Lee speaking.
Thank you, Charlotte.
If I may just quickly clarify something, because this particular applicant has a slightly different process on the zoning side than other applicants have had. They have been to the Zoning Board of Appeals to deal with a hardship variance related to the number of stories of the building. They have not been to the planning board yet and have not received or been heard for their special permit for the use. So I just want to clarify that.
Thank you for the clarification. I always misspeak when it comes to either the zoning or the planning folks. And Charlotte, do you have a pre-planning board meeting set yet with the applicant?
So I have been working with the applicant on the various procedural steps that they need to take prior to being able to go to the planning board. Because they are building a new building, they not only need one neighborhood meeting for the use special permit, they need an additional neighborhood meeting and a meeting with the Urban Design Commission regarding the design of the building in particular. They are scheduled to go to the Urban Design Commission tomorrow night. And I do also want to note for the record, the floor plan that they have presented tonight is not compliant with zoning and will be changing or will need to change before they can get approval from the planning board.
Understood. The renderings that they show to us are not final. I understand. Okay. All right. Commissioner Thomas, would you like to lead off with questions of the applicant, any of the three people who have spoken tonight? That would be Councilor O'Donovan, who is the attorney representing Botanica, Denise O'Donovan, who is the CEO, or Matt, I'm going to mangle your last name. I'm sorry. My apologies. Matt did the presentation for us. So take it away, Commissioner Thomas.
Sure, I guess this would be directed towards Matt. Hi, Matt. Commissioner Thomas. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about data security. As is today, data is the new oil, and that information that is on the licenses is very, very valuable. And I was wondering, part of the CCC requirements is for storage of that information, and how are you handling that?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Thomas. We will be working with our IT company. We will set up the firewalls and internet and safety through our internal network. It will have hospital level security that would meet all HIPAA requirements. So it's you're seeing it coming from medical marijuana, where I was. We had pretty strict rules of operating in, and it's working with the IT company to create a cybersecurity kind of fortress for the information that's on our computers. But we will not actually be retaining a lot of the actual license information is not retained as part of the CCC. We're just taking we're verifying, and we are deleting license numbers and stuff like that. We're not holding personal information longer than 24 hours just to ensure that they are not exceeding their 24-hour purchase allotment within the state. So it is for a 24-hour period that information is held, and then it is wiped. The only information will be permission-based marketing of name, email address, or phone number for opt-in for texting. But all of the information will be encrypted. It will have HIPAA level cybersecurity security measures for that 24 hours.
Yeah, I think underneath, you may run into this as you move forward, but there may be a 6-month retention requirement for that data. That's why I asked about the storage part of that. You may run into that.
We'll have camera storage requirements that are different from license storage. The license storage in the most recent guidance, it's for that 24-hour purchase period. But for video cameras, it will be through it'll be through a cloud service. We'll have our on-site for 30 days. It'll, as well as our off-site for redundancy. We'll use a service such as AWS or one of the other cloud-based servers for storing these 400 terabytes worth of security data because of the high megapixels of our cameras. But anything that we have to create data, whatever those requirements will be under all cybersecurity requirements. We'll have all security measures in place, all safety measures within our IT infrastructure, and multiple networks, private networks, guest networks, and guest networks will be on an independent internet network that would not have any redundancy, any access into the staff-only network. It would be a total independent network for guests. Our private network will be encrypted and only for people that need to have it, and there will be different levels of network access.
Understood. The other question I had was geared towards parking. Looks like there are about 10 to 11 parking spaces there now. Are those going to be used for employees or for express delivery? Can you add some color to the parking situation in that area?
I'll let Sean talk on the parking side, but we actually are not have any parking spots anymore within of the actual property like it is the gas station. There will be parking on the street, and the only parking will be on the street. I'm not 100% remember how many spots are on Broadway. Sean could help me refresh my memory on that.
Certainly, Commissioner Thomas, if it's okay, if I could just augment the answer.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. So all the parking will go away, and the footprint of the building will take up most of the land area. There will be there will be on each side of the building access to the back of the building for Botanica on one side, and on the other side, the cafe will have the easterly and southerly portion that butts the railroad track for outdoor seating, et cetera. Both curb cuts are very large, and those will be, the curbs will be put back in, so the street will actually pick up, I would have to guess 5 to 6 parking spots. We are going to be requesting a loading zone in front of one of the parking spots, for one of the parking spots rather, that's going to be put back on the street. And obviously that would only be in the daytime when they're open, and at night, of course, we would expect to permit parking for the residents if we can get it. That's the hope.
Would you be open to exploring express parking spots since we are offering express pickup and delivery?
We absolutely would. We have Steve Siragusa as our traffic engineer from DCI, who's working on this with obviously our architect Peter Quinn's involved too. But yeah, if we certainly would do something like that, which would be, I don't know if that would be a 15-minute parking spot, express parking spot on the street. And maybe that could revert to permit parking or resident parking rather at 8 o'clock at night when Botanica closed. Or I don't know exactly how the city would want to deal with that, but we absolutely would apply to the traffic commission to alleviate any type of or help with any type of parking and traffic issues, because it would only benefit Botanica, frankly. The cafe, we're expecting, like Botanica, there to be a lot of foot traffic, frankly, with the opening of the Green Line stop. And we're actually suggesting and hoping that, we could maybe put it's a double wide sidewalk right now. And we have 2 big, beautiful trees right in front of the station right now. So we were showing and, hoping that maybe the city would allow us to put some additional bike parking on the sidewalk. Not to interfere with people parking and walking onto the sidewalk, but just to add some more bike parking. We do have bike parking on site as well. And just down at the corner at Trum Field where Cedar Street meets Broadway, they just put in another blue bike system. So, it's all good stuff.
Right. Okay, Commissioner Allen, I think I'm good for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. As Commissioner Lynch said, you have clearly watched our prior applicants and you have preempted a great many of the questions I would have. I appreciate your clear arm policy on weapons. Just a couple of questions on your security setup. You've mentioned that at the cash registers and at the front vestibule, there'd be panic buttons. Would those panic buttons, when pressed, go directly to the Somerville Police Department, or would there be an intermediary layer?
It is, the way it's designed, it'll go to our central station, and which has a rapid response to Somerville Police. Okay,
cool. When you talk about subsidizing transit for your employees, are we talking about that can be a broad spectrum from completely covering a T-Pass to we are letting you pay for your transit pre-tax? Where on that spectrum are you going to end up?
The internal discussion so far, we're at at least 50%, but I think we have to, we have to make the best business decision. It's very expensive to start a business. We want to support our staff, but we're looking at least 50% for subsidizing transit, and up to 100 depending on how many people are needing of it.
Okay, great. You gave timelines for your community meetings, both your unofficial ones and the official tick mark checking ones. Could you give me just maybe a rough count of how many members of the community you had at the main ones on the 7th and 10th, I believe?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I don't know, Matt, if you have that data, please go right ahead.
I was trying to just go off of memory. I want to say we had at least 30 that were in both meetings. But Sean, if you had a closer number.
Yeah, so in the first meeting, and I actually can supplement the information, Commissioner Allen, because we had 2 neighborhood meetings that were recorded, and we can get you the exact count of people that were at those meetings. And then there were some informal meetings that happened in Ball Square. You know, one was hosted by Mr. Schwam, so it wasn't involving Botanica, but there was conversation there. And then there was probably another half a dozen smaller meetings where people asked to meet, you know, different Botanica. And so one or two of the members would have lunch or coffee with somebody in the square. And those were very small meetings. There was only probably 2, 3, or 4 people at those. But for the neighborhood meetings, I'm going to say between 30 and 50, but if you don't mind, could I get back to you with an exact number?
Yeah, you can. I'm happy with the ballpark for now. You can follow up with those exact numbers at your convenience. And I do appreciate too that in many regards, many of these small one-on-ones are perhaps much more productive than a single large one. And I appreciate that you all have done this community outreach. I think it's streamlined the process quite a bit, and it's surprising to receive so far overwhelmingly positive communications regarding the establishment. I have no further questions for now, Chairman Lynch.
Thank you very much, commissioners. I always do the last thing that's in my head. It would be advantageous for the team to post, if you recorded those community meetings, would be very advantageous for you to post those. I know your website is under construction, but you can post those to YouTube under Botanica's name, and that gives anyone who's looking for more information kind of a feedback, and it also gives them opportunity to hear your presentation. So I would highly advise you to post those.
We'll get that. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to acknowledge we'll absolutely take care of that.
Great.
And Commissioner, our first meeting is on YouTube and we'll upload the other ones onto YouTube as well. I think it's in 2 or 3 parts. Is the first with Mr. Niedergang was the first one that has been uploaded, and we'll get the other ones up there as well.
I watched the first one. No offense against former councilor Niedergang, but we run a much better meeting than he does. So let me go to a couple of quick ones, and then we're going to open it up to the public for public comment. Thank you very much for the presentation. Very thorough. It answers, as I'll echo Commissioner Allen, it answers a lot of my questions. For anyone on the team, I do have a question about the back end of the building being so close to an open piece of land that is owned by the state. As I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Security cameras in the back. Could you just refresh my memory of how many security cameras you will have in the back of that building?
There will be at least 3 to 4 cameras on each wall of there, and it's all about the line of sight point of views. There'll be cameras along the wall. It's the building wall itself to make sure that no one's leaning up against the wall. There'll be also at different points of view of getting the full 360 of the back of the property through the property line, as well as to the fence line of the overhang of where the T is, and I believe it's 10 or 15 feet drop. Sean, if you know the exact, you can remind.
At least that. Yeah, it's probably closer to 20, but it's a good drop in the back.
And Councillor O'Donovan, is that separated by the sound attenuation wall, or is it just the divider wall? Is it higher than what I think it is?
They put a very large retaining wall back there, Mr. Chairman, and then after they did that, they put the fence back. So behind the fence is probably a 3 to 4 pitch slope area of rocks, and then the wall starts and drops straight down to the tracks.
Okay, got it. Okay, And you don't anticipate any issues with the T? You've worked those out. You made reference to it at one of your prior meetings. Something to do with the T and the building site. I assume that's all taken care of?
So that process is underway. We have to get a license to do construction from them because we abut the track, as you're well aware. We have not secured that yet. We wanted to get through the planning board process, and then we have a land use attorney working with us who's going to be working with the MBTA on that. One of the things that Peter Quinn, when he designed the building, we are leaving the back. If you look at the back of the building, it's not a straight line. So we're leaving the back walls of the building alone so that we don't disturb the foundation of those walls. And then we're bringing everything out kind of a little bit of an easterly direction, a little bit of a westerly direction, but all forward, Mr. Chairman, so that we're hoping that the MBTA will see that, it's on a slab, Mr. Chairman. So it'll be about a 4-foot slab, and there'll be pylons underneath the ground to hold the building. But we are going to do everything we can not to disturb the back area of the building because it's so close to the wall. It's probably 15 to 20 feet from the wall and about 10 feet from the fence.
Got it. Okay. All right. Just bringing it to your attention, all the good work that you're doing now. Just want to make sure that, folks know there's something out there. It's not our business, commissioners. But remember, this property owner is doing a lot more work than just with the licensing commission.
Right, I would say, Mr. Chair, in this regard, looking at this from like areas of weakness in terms of security, if you look at the back of that building, there's one gap that's about 20 feet that's open with the adjacent property. That's a point of weakness in terms of security. So if it had one continuous wall to completely contain the property, I think that would be ideal. If I'm looking at this as from the security perspective, right, that's the first place I would look as a point of weakness, just to keep that in mind as well.
Understood. But they are, I think this team is going to do everything they can to protect their assets. So
right. But if I was looking to do something, that's where I would start. That's my getaway point.
Okay, thank you. So as far as any other outstanding questions that I have, I cannot put my finger on any at this point. Your traffic plan needs to be submitted as part of your overall processes. You're in good hands with Charlotte in walking you through whatever other meetings that you have to go to. I'm satisfied with all of the hard facts that I need. So if there are no more questions from the commissioners, would you like to open this to the public comment period? Okay. Team Botanica, are you ready? We're going to open this up to the public.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Allen, are there any members of the public that wish to be heard? I don't see, I think we only had about 30 attendees the last time I looked. And I don't know how many we have left. How many attendees are left in the queue, Commissioner Allen?
We are at 27, and I have at least 8 hands raised to speak right now.
Okay, why don't we do this then? If I could have the city clerk give me a 2-minute timer, and if we have time afterwards, we can allow people to repeat if there are any other questions. So members of the public, if you could limit your comments to 2 minutes or less, we'd appreciate it. Commissioner Allen, ready, set, go.
All righty. Bill Roche, you are unmuted. Please go ahead and state your name.
Hi, good evening, Honorable License Commission members. My name is Bill Roach. I'm a lifelong resident in the city of Somerville. However, not as long as your chairman. Let me give you a little background about myself. I was on the Zoning Board of Appeals for over 3 years. I was the chair of the Traffic Commission for over 10 years. And when they used to call the seat an alderman, I was an alderman in the city for 17 years. Although never speaking before the current makeup of this licensing commission, I have, as an elected official and a concerned resident, spoke before the License Commission dozens of times over the past 20 years. Sometimes in favor of the applicant, and sometimes in opposition to the applicant. After listening to the presentation tonight, there's not much I can add to the quality of what's before you, of the application before you. But what I can speak to is the character of the individuals that are involved. One thing I will say, in terms of the property owner, business owner, and location, I have never seen a well-rounded application such as this one. So I see my countdown going down pretty quick. So all I will say is the majority of the principals involved are lifelong residents of the city. They work here, their kids go to school here. You can find them in the streets, you can find them in the ballparks, you can find them in the rink. They've been involved in nonprofits way before they ever thought of this project. Many times businesses come before you and they promise to get involved in the community. This has already been done by these applicants. You don't have to worry about that. All I can ask is that you give this due consideration, and I hope this honorable board finds it fit to pass this license tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Roach. Commissioner Allen.
Mark Atwater.
Hello. I'll keep it quick just for the sake of everyone's time here. I just want to speak in favor of this applicant here for Botanica. And yeah, I'm in favor for him. That's it.
Thank you, Mark.
Peter Miller.
There we go. Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Chairman Lynch, Commissioners Thomas and Allen, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak on this matter, and I will be brief. My strong support for this license is guided and informed by my own past service as chairman of the Somerville Licensing Commission. I think it is very important that we recognize that this petitioner has already undergone thorough review and scrutiny by both, as we heard earlier, the Marijuana Advisory Committee and the Zoning Board of Appeals. As well, we know that they've had, numerous public community meetings and public hearings. As chairman of the Licensing Commission, I found that there are three essential attributes shared by the most successful licensees. One, a thorough understanding of the responsibilities of the license holder to customers and to the public at large. I'm not sure if I ever saw a team as thoroughly knowledgeable of these responsibilities as Botanica. Two, the financial, technical, and administrative skills necessary to provide safe and effective operations. Again, this team has proven both depth and experience. Thirdly, can the commission, the neighborhood, and this public at large be confident that this licensee will be accountable and accessible? And here again, the answer is an emphatic yes. There is deep local roots. It is a team that lives in the neighborhood it serves, and it is dedicated to both accountability and accessibility. I strongly urge you to support Botanica, and again urge that you vote positively this evening so that they can proceed with the community process that still lies ahead. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Peter Miller. Commissioner Allen.
Caroline Rosas.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yep,
Good, okay, perfect. Good evening, my name is Caroline Rosas. I live at 60 Pritchard Avenue in Ward 5, so right down the street technically from this proposed business. And I wanted to speak in favor of the business. I believe that the business being owned by local residents who have been champions of both our city and our schools is a huge asset to Somerville, as well as being majority female owned is also a huge plus. In addition to that, I think that the redesign of the building will bring a lot of aesthetically pleasing to that area of Broadway. So I just wanted to speak in favor of the business and the owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Caroline Rosas.
David Gibbs.
Hi, can you hear me?
You can.
Hi, David Gibbs. I'm a resident of Somerville and the executive director of the Community Action Agency of Somerville. My name was mentioned earlier in connection with this applicant, and I was delighted to hear it. These folks, despite the significant financial difficulties they've faced over the last few years as the project has been slowed down by the pandemic, have nonetheless been steady donors to our work at CAS. And I believe that this indicates their real commitment to the community, to making sure that, one of the really important elements of the marijuana legalization rubric is carried out, namely that people who have been hurt by the war on drugs over the years have opportunities and the opportunity to move forward with their lives and rebuild their lives and achieve economic security. So we are delighted to be partnering with Botanica. We look forward to working with them in the future, and I just want to speak very strongly in favor of this applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, David Gibbs. Commissioner Allen?
Debbie Canoa.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Great. Hi, thank you for having me. Debbie Canoa, I'm at 600 Broadway, so I'm a few hundred feet from the proposed site. I have lived in this neighborhood for about 20 years in the same condo here. And I've always had a vision for this neighborhood that was part of the planning and the neighborhood planning that happened over the past 10 years as the Green Line was coming in. We never really anticipated the cannabis being such a stronghold for the community. So it's been very concerning to see how many licenses are being granted. And I totally understand the zoning and planning issues with the city of Somerville. But as a resident raising my family here, it's concerning to see so many different cannabis shops opening up. So now we have a second one. So we have Advisa, which is a few hundred feet up across the bridge. And then we'll have Botanica. So again, within walking distance, I can walk to two cannabis shops. So as a family here, I'm looking for services to support a walkability, in our neighborhood. And right now I'm not seeing that happen. So I'm really looking for the licensing board to deny licensing to Botanica for retail cannabis. My other concern is that with the number of licenses that are coming into the market, at some point there is a flooding of product and it has to be sold. So the next group of people that would be target would be underage. So I know that Matt brought up the issues with the cameras and keeping security, but the more accessible the product is, the more concerning it is that this product will make it into the hands of young kids. And it's already hard to do that with, what we already have in existence in terms of social media and alcohol. So just having this much more for kids to have to navigate is just very difficult. Thank you for listening. And again, I oppose Botanica having a marijuana license. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie Canoa. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your last name. Canoa? Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Allen.
Robert McWaters.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynch and commissioners. I'm Bob McWaters, longtime resident of Somerville, former alderman in Ward 3. I was also the clerk of committees for the Board of Aldermen for 18 years. I don't have the same resume as Mayor Roach, but almost comparable. I speak in favor of this license, and one of the caveats that is important to me in licensing when I say in the city is locally owned. We have local owners here. I know the applicants. I've known them for numerous years. They're quality. They've given back through community service, through public service, and I think that's an important caveat, an important advantage for neighbors. And I also think, listening to the presentation tonight, this is a quality team. If there are any issues at all, which I don't anticipate because it sounds like it's a superior team, the applicants and the owners live in the city. The other thing that I really appreciate is the outreach in the community, not only to CAS, but to the neighborhood. So at this point, Mr. Commissioner, I respectfully suggest that the commission, the licensing board, seriously consider this applicant because I think this is a quality team. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob McWaters.
Debbie Kamara. Sorry, I didn't actually unmute you. There you go.
Hi, this is Debbie Kamara. I live on Boston Ave. I have a direct view of this building, and I'm looking forward to it being built up. I'm not looking forward to the extra noise that after getting rid of the noise of the Green Line having the building, but the building and its contribution to the city, I think will be really good for the neighborhood. And as for the O'Donovans and the management of the team, I've known them for quite a long time. Our kids played baseball together, and they're an asset to the community. So if they think this is a good idea, I think this is a good idea. I think it'll be an asset to this little community, and having the coffee shop there and just the aesthetically pleasing view as opposed to what I'm looking at right now.
Oh, did we lose her, Commissioner Allen?
Still on, but not getting any audio. Yeah.
All right, Debbie, if you can still hear us, I think we've lost your connection. So why don't you disconnect and come on back in, and we might take you after we finish this. All right, let's go to the next one, Commissioner Allen.
Great. Michael Casesso.
Good evening, commissioners. There's not much more I can say other than I'm in favor of this project. Everybody else already told you basically how I feel, except for one thing. I'm happy that it's not a huge conglomerate and that Somerville people are doing this. I've known these people my whole life. Well, their whole life, because I'm older. But they're all wonderful people. And I'm just happy that Somerville residents are doing this rather than, like I said, some huge corporation that nameless, faceless, and from whoever knows where. But that's all I wanted to say. And like I said, I'm in favor of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Casesso. Commissioner Allen.
Richard Daly. Richard Daly, you're unmuted. You may still be muted on your end.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Chairman Lynch, Commissioners Thomas and Allen, I want to reiterate what everybody else has said tonight. I have spoken in favor of this project from the beginning. I've been to the planning meetings, been to the neighborhood meetings. I've spoken in favor of the project at the zoning board. I've known the O'Donovan family for many, many years. I'm a lifelong resident of Somerville. I live at 94 Pritchard Ave, and I'm a direct abutter. And again, everybody has kind of spoken on the values of this project. And I am in favor and hoping that you guys will vote in favor of their licensing this evening, if that's possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc Daly.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Commissioner Allen.
Hiram Falfan.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, hi. Good evening. My name's Hiram Falcon. I live at 600 Broadway. I'm pretty much a direct abutter to Botanica. And I know that the O'Donovan family has a good reputation, but I'm concerned on a couple of things. One is the amount of politically connected people that have called on their behalf, again, expressing, all the money they've contributed to the community and all the great things, but none of them expressed, what they're going to sell, which is marijuana. And it's just, you know, again, the concentration that we have, I know that they're meeting all the requirements, but you have 2 marijuana stores within less than a mile of each other. Like, is there really that much demand for that product? I mean, in this area, we don't have a gym, we don't have daycare, we don't have anything to support families, but, you know, you guys are putting, you know, the zoning board's allowing 2 marijuana stores within less than a mile. Another point that I want to make is, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody here, but, you know, the Sackler family was also, they were great, you know, patrons of the arts and all of, you know, of communities. And, you know, they were selling a product that wasn't, you know, in the end, of value to their community. So I just wanted to point that out. And, you know, I feel ashamed of, like, again, all these politically correct people calling in to, you know, on their behalf, saying, like, again, yeah, it's a great family, but I mean, what impact is this really going to have on our community? I don't know if the zoning board and the city have really thought about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiram Falcon. Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
That is the last of our attendees. If anybody else would like to speak, please raise your hand now.
Okay, and before we do that, if we can see if we can get Debbie Camara back on. I think that was the one that got cut off, Commissioner Allen.
Yes, Debbie currently shows as offline in the attendee list.
Okay. All right, let's proceed then. Any other hands? Okay. All right. Thank you, members of the public. Commissioners, I have a couple of things I just want to address, and they were mainly to the folks who spoke in opposition, and it has to do with the concentration. If we could get rid of the timer, because I usually go over 2 minutes. Thank you. It has to do with the concentration of shops in any one small business district. I, more so than the other 2 commissioners, are keenly aware of when the legislation was drafted here in the city of Somerville, that I was one person of many who brought up to OSPCD and the mayor at the time that with the advent of recreational marijuana, were we running the risk of any one business district being overrun by a number of shops if we didn't put buffer zones into play? And as you know, under our rules and regulations in the Cannabis Control Commission, we cannot allow these shops to open up within X number of feet of a school or certain types of religious organizations. Be that as it may, there was discussion that went on about our business districts outside of, say, Assembly Row and the now developing Boynton Yards. Our business districts are fairly small, such as Magoon Square and Ball Square and Gilman Square. Do we run the risk of any one of these small business districts being overrun by, I'll call them what a lot of people call them, they're pot shops, right? We as the commission have to follow what the city council legislation states. And at the time I brought up the concern that I had about too many concentrated around specifically the new T-stops, if I had a crystal ball, I could have foreseen what was going to happen. So now we have legislation that's on the books in the city of Somerville that does not call for buffer zones in between these shops. So we have Ball Square, who may get 2, Magoon Square maybe next, Union Square now has 3, Davis Square has 3, and there is no doubt in my mind that Gilman Square, once that starts to get redeveloped and certain parts of Innerbelt, they will get their share. There is nothing that the licensing commission can do to overturn that zoning that says you can't have too many. We also do not have that restriction when it comes to liquor stores, package stores. So when you look at Ball Square currently has 2 package stores. Magoon Square has 2 package stores. So I want to address the concerns that neighbors have, which is how many is too many? Are they going to get a third in Ball Square? That's outside of the domain of this licensing commission. The discussions I've always had with the city councilors is that this is the rule that the city council adopted in 2017 and 2018. And if you feel as though we need to change it as a city, you know how to do that. But we legally cannot do that. We cannot say to a merchant who's coming in with a controlled product, whether it's alcohol or marijuana, we feel as though there's too many in one neighborhood. The licensing commission cannot do that. So I wanted to address the concerns that at least 2 people had. And it goes back to 73% of the population, the voting population of this city, said that they approved of recreational marijuana coming to Somerville. We have a robust process on how those applicants are screened, how those applicants are, how they apply to different places, different entities across the city, such as planning, the Marijuana Advisory Committee, the licensing committee, and then they still have to go to the state. Those are serious hurdles for these folks to get through in order to open up the business. I would just say this, it's not as stringent for package stores. They don't go through these kind of hurdles. So recreational marijuana, like it or not, they're held to a much higher standard. So with that said, commissioners, we've heard from the public. Commissioner Allen, I don't want to cut anybody off. Is there anybody else who has their hand raised?
There are currently no hands raised.
Okay, then let's go to deliberation if you don't mind. All right, we've heard from the applicant. We've heard from members of the public. We've heard from our liaison for recreational marijuana, Charlotte Lease. Now it's our turn. Let's discuss. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Allen.
Absolutely. I feel like the presentation clearly, outlined the concerns that the Licensing Commission has generally brought up with applicants, addressed them in a reasonable manner. I think they did a strong job of community outreach to both make sure that people were aware that they were coming in, and I think preemptively addressing a lot of issues that otherwise historically we've heard about here and discussed here. I think, they've absolutely demonstrated strong community ties. I'm going to take a different tack on the idea of too many being clustered together and say that, one of the comments that was provided by a member of the public was that this was potentially going to someone who was too connected and had too many previous politicians calling in. If that's a concern that we have, licenses should absolutely not guarantee a bubble of immunity from competition around them. By providing the ability to have multiple in the area, and this is something that I don't feel like we potentially discuss enough. For liquor licenses, we discuss it quite often in terms of the Licensing Commission's obligations regarding the issuing of licenses are to protect the public and serve the public need. These are existing not just as a revenue feature, not just as a way, but also as a way for members of our community to buy these products that via our ballot initiative, they expressed a strong desire to have the ability to buy. And that means not just from one establishment that has been given a local monopoly. Boston has tried this in terms of generating these exclusion areas, and I think it both has opened them up to a tremendous amount of liability, and I think it's negative in terms of the ability for the consumers. When you have one business in the area, once they have established themselves, no one else can open nearby to compete with them. So I think, and I could take the easy route and say this is not under the Licensing Commission's purview. It is simply a zoning question. I will take it one step further and say that even if, Were we to have those tools available in our toolbox, I would be loath to exercise them. Similar to liquor licenses, we've had liquor applicants come forward and say, no, I do not believe that new license should be able to be issued close to my vicinity. And I've said the exact same thing. At the end of the day, this is about serving the public need and serving the public demand. So those two key points of that the applicant has done, I think, an exceptional job of dotting their I's and crossing their T's, addressing our most common concerns, doing the 6-month waiting period, 6-month period of by appointment only, check the boxes in terms of security. I have no concerns with them moving forward, and I would be happy to move to approve today. And he wandered off, so I think if you want to talk Commissioner Thomas, you can get away with it.
Great. I'll sneak in before he comes back. Oh no, here he comes.
Commissioner Thomas, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I echo a lot of what Commissioner Allen has just spoken. I love the fact that this particular venture is homegrown, Group A. The concerns of having multiple establishments in the same area, when I was going through this whole process, I ran into Sound Bites and Ball Square Cafe, which basically are touching each other, and they both do just fine, pass through any Saturday morning. So I think it's just a matter of, historically, Somerville has always been Assembly Row, Milk Row. Things have been more concentrated, but now these are definitely being distributed, as you could see throughout the map in Somerville. But the people have spoken, and I'd be in full support of this application. I think we would be going conditional, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, on this, but I would be in support of moving forward.
That's what you get for not letting me take a break earlier. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you very much. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I say this to all recreational marijuana applicants. It is your license to protect. Should the commissioners vote in favor, you're spending a lot of money on this process. Protect your assets by doing the right thing. We've heard from many members of the public. Some are politicos of time gone by. I agree with that. I know some of the people who have spoken in favor. I've tried to address people who have spoken against. This is not the first time that this licensing commission has heard people speak in favor or speak against these applications. I will say in the 3.5 years that I've served as chair, we've never had anyone speak against a package store or speak against a liquor license for a restaurant. Recreational marijuana is here to stay. We cannot wave a wand and make it go away. It is here. It is a controlled substance. It is under highly regulated regulations. One thing I would say to the applicant before the commissioners and I vote is you've heard from a couple of members of the community who have some trepidation about too many in the Ball Square area. I would give you one piece of information is that it's always good to speak to people who have concerns to make sure that something doesn't explode one day and your license is at risk. And I'm not going to steal Commissioner Allen's thunder. He will say this when we go to deliberation. I'm very impressed with how you've organized the team, very impressed with the presentation. As I say, that it is not mandatory, but the city councilor from Ward 5 sent in a letter of no opposition. She does highlight that there are concerns by a couple of the neighbors. I would just encourage the Team Botanica to continue to work with those neighbors. It is my opinion that the team has demonstrated, so my findings are they have demonstrated that they will be able to handle the license responsibly, that they are doing everything they can to reach out to the community to assuage any fears that people may have about this controlled substance coming in. There is a need in the community. Right now, Commissioner Allen, help me with this. I think we have, and Charlotte's going to kill me if I put her on the spot. I think we have 10 approved, conditionally approved licenses. Let's leave it at 10. So we are in the process of approving applications that have come in the past. I anticipate the first of the recreational marijuana shops will open sometime this summer, and then we will see a cascading of newer ones, newer applicants being approved through the different processes, getting their approvals from the CCC, and they'll come back and they'll start operation in the city. I don't mean to present as a capitalist, but the strong, well-run organizations will survive while the weak ones will fall by the wayside. If they have trouble at their establishment, they're going to be back in front of this licensing commission for a hearing. So with that said, I am ready to vote. Congratulations to Team Botanica on the outreach. I've had one discussion with Councilor Gomez Moacad. I've had one discussion with Mr. Schwam, and they were very impressed with the outreach that was being done by the team. So commissioners, if you are ready, Team Botanica, you've watched our hearings before. You know what I'm about to say, that I would like to put a condition on the license that it is 6 months by appointment only after the issuing of the license. Are you amenable to that?
Yes, we are, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. With that said, do I have a motion on the floor for a new marijuana retailer license for Botanica, Group A priority, with the hours of 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.?
I will move to approve the license conditional on the licensee operating by appointment only for 6 months after the issuance of the license, with the understanding that once they commence operations, they can come before the commission if they would like to have that requirement modified.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Do I have a second?
This would also include approval from all other departments? I would second that.
That is implied in conditional approval, Commissioner Thomas. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would second that motion from Commissioner Allen.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Team Botanica, Councilor O'Donovan, Denise O'Donovan, Brenda DeAngelis, Matt, Michael, thank you very much. Any parting words for the commission?
Thank you for your time.
No, it's thank you so much for your time. It's this is an operation we take very seriously. We know our responsibility not only as members of the business community, but also as business owners, and our responsibility to running a responsible business that is safe, secure, and accountable. So we take this very seriously. I've been very successful by taking it very seriously and living by the rules and regulations, and that's the only way to be successful. Is the state gives you a very clear map of how to do this right on the rules and regulation side, and we're going to do that. We're going to be compliant. We're going to live within the rules. We don't believe in gray. It's very black and white, but also we believe in customer service and being a true member of the community, like a lot of the great businesses that are in Ball Square and the other different neighborhoods within Somerville. So thank you for hearing me. I really appreciate the questioning and the time.
Thank you, Matt. Team Botanica, congratulations. Best wishes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Allen, we had 2 items that were continued to the end for no show by the applicants.
Correct. That was item number
7.
5 and item number 7.
Thank you. Item number 5, do we have Samantha Molio? Samantha Molio, is she in attendance?
No one by that name in the attendees list. If you're present for agenda item number 5, please raise your hand now. Nope.
Okay. Well, I'm not inclined to approve this tonight, commissioners. We don't have any information about it.
Agreed.
Okay. No action on that one then on 5. That equates to a denial. Okay. All right, item number 7, Margaret Morrissey, is she in the audience?
There's no one by that name present. There's a Peggy Morrissey from a Warehouse 11 email address.
Margaret Morrissey, yep.
Peggy Morrissey, you're unmuted.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Peggy. You're all set. Go
Hi.
ahead.
How are you? Hi. I am working with Berkeley School of Music, but there is a change to a couple of dates that I want to change for the application.
Okay, what are the dates, Peggy?
1 second now. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up here in my email. I'm so sorry. Ugly people. Okay. Okay. All right. So we can disregard a lot of them. March 25th, they need a bartender. April 6th, they need a bartender. April 14th, yes. April 17th, yes. April 21st, no. April 21st, no. And April 27th, no.
Okay. All right, Peggy, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
If you could amend the request on the dates via email to our city clerk.
Definitely.
All right.
Yeah, they just let me know this tonight. And then in May, we have the Hot Sauce Festival, which is the weekend after Mother's Day, which is, sorry, 14th and 15th, I believe.
Okay, Peggy, that's under a different application. What we're looking at is you're hosting the Berkeley School of Music concerts.
Yes, or
Okay.
performances, yes.
Okay. So what is this other organization that you're talking about, the Hot Sauce?
It's a hot sauce festival from hot sauce vendors from all over the United States, and they want to have the, sorry?
Peggy, sorry, are they part of Berkeley School of Music?
No, no,
Okay.
sorry.
We don't have anything on the agenda for Hot Sauce.
Oh, May 14th and May 16th?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I should put that in the April meeting. What date is the April meeting?
Lori, what is the date of our April board meeting?
That would be April 11th, sir.
April
Okay,
11th.
so I'll put that on Lori for the April meeting.
All right. All right, so we're only here to approve the dates that you want for the Berkeley School of Music.
Yes.
concert.
Yes.
Okay, and you're only going to
Please.
run that from 7:30 till 10:30.
Correct.
And you know you need tip certified bartenders and you got to buy from a wholesaler.
Absolutely.
Okay, if you could amend the dates that you want and send those in to Lori.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, hold on one second. Commissioner Allen, any questions of the applicant?
No.
Commissioner Thomas?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Peggy, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Amend those dates and get them into Lori, all right? Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the amended dates as submitted to Lori Batzik, City Clerk?
Move to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. I believe, Commissioner Allen, that concludes tonight's agenda. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Any comments by the commissioners?
The only comment I wanted to add was in regards to marijuana licensing, what I'm seeing in terms of trends. Just want to add as a point of reflection, out west, there's a advertising battle. So a lot of promos are being thrown out. And because we're getting so concentrated with these establishments, what they're doing out there is, you know, prices are coming down. So we should be mindful of that moving forward as we continue to expand, that maybe there might be some regulation needed for the types of promos and sales and price discounts that they could offer, just to have a control on the number of people moving into that establishment. I wanted to add that before, but it kind of just lost my mind for a second.
No, it's a good thing for us to be aware of, that as our market begins to be saturated, the one-upsmanship in terms of marketing.
Right.
Get
so eloquent than I am, but yes. Right.
Right. And you're well aware that, you know, we did away with happy hours, right? Because that's the way of the liquor industry marketing to get more market share. So you're absolutely right. We may have to watch how these establishments are marketing their product. Yep.
Correct.
For now, the Cannabis Control has strict requirements on how they can advertise. So let's see how it plays out. It's a good thing to watch, Commissioner Thomas.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Team Somerville, Team Botanica, and all the other applicants. If there's no further business in front of this commission, Commissioner Thomas makes a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Is he gone? I'll second the motion. There you go. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much, everybody. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.